My name's Gary Patterson. I'm an ex-amateur motor racer, and this is the story of Mum's car. In 2009, we lost my mum. As a way of spending time together just after she died, Dad and I built a race Mini to remember the times back in the day when we used to head out as a family and race an old Mini. In 2009 was the 50th anniversary of the Mini, so we built a 50th celebration car with huge Austin and Morris logos and called it Mum's car. It wasn't long after that my wife got diagnosed with breast cancer, so we abandoned the racing. What we called Mum's car was abandoned too, really. Most of the bits eventually went missing, and it sat mouldy in a barn for 6 years. This year, 2019, 10 years later, 60th anniversary of the Mini, and it seemed a shame that it was stuck in a barn where no one could see it. So I got my race license again and looked for somewhere to race it. The Classic Sports Car Club had an oversubscribed swinging 60s series race at Donington in October. It was the last race of the season, and it was going to be televised. The swinging 60s series is for marques originally produced in the 60s, so features all types of 60s race cars. If we could get on the reserve list, we could try and race that if we could get Mum's car together. It was a pretty sorry state though. We had no sponsor, no budget for a new engine or gearbox, so if we didn't get the old one running, then, oh well, we just wouldn't race. The old block and gearbox was still in the car from the last race years ago, but it was mouldy, it was rusty, clutch was seized, no battery or fuel system. A couple of years ago, the cylinder head was donated to an old Austin A35 van, so we got that back, repainted it, and then without taking the engine out, we just stuck it on. We borrowed a carburettor from a friend of Dad's who kindly just took it off his road Mini and gave it to us. We borrowed loads of other bits, even the wipers, and it started. It's a loud bang when the clutch unseized. Took it straight to Neil's Slark and ran it on the rollers. Temperature good, oil pressure good, 73 horsepower at the wheels, so by far the least powerful car on the swinging 60s grid, but who cares? At least we could show the car off and have a good time. Of course, if it were to rain, historically Minis have always been good in the wet, so we might make up a few places and not finish last, but the long-term forecast was dry. Anyway, back in the day when I was racing, we used to race against two brothers who became great friends, Pat and Ant Ford. But they too lost their mother this year. So, swinging 60s is a 40-minute two-driver endurance race. My wife persuaded Ant Ford to get his license back and be my second driver. Clearly, Mum's car didn't have to represent just one mum. We had a car, we had a team. We got taken off the reserve list, got the last place on the grid, and they let us carry number 60. So with all the 60th anniversary livery, the car made sense if it was going to be on the telly. Race day came, we wake up, and it's raining, which is what we needed. So we line up with all these beautiful 60s race cars for qualifying in the rain. Huge 40-car grid. Nearly all of them steamed up and all struggling for grip. But our little Mini still had its heater, so our screen was clear. We had this one lap where the traffic parted, we could see where we were going, and it all came together for one lap. And whilst we weren't the fastest, we ended up getting a position on the front row of the grid for the race. One lucky lap against all these lovely cars is one thing. A whole 40-minute race with a driver change that we'd never done before is a whole different thing. But with a couple of mums looking down on us, we give it a shot.
So, again, 40 minutes. Again, that mandatory pit stop slap bang in the middle. So between the 10th and the 25th minute of the race, the safety car peels its way into the pit lane. Rolling start, about to get itself underway in conditions which maybe are slightly starting to improve, he says, with his fingers crossed. We get the race underway. We're already 4 wide up towards Redgate Corner. Right, buckle up, everybody. Here we go. Kim Bradshaw looking to try and hang on to the lead of the race, but might lose out here. Ian Staines might go through to grab the lead of the race, possibly. In towards the braking area, it is Ian Staines that leads. Ollie Streak in second place. Kim Bradshaw already down into third, possibly fourth, as the Patterson and Anthony Ford car goes through. Steve Winifred briefly having a moment coming out of Redgate Corner, so the Dayglow yellow Mini tumbling down through the order currently, as now, by the look of things, the car that qualified on the outside of the front row of the grid, the Gary Patterson and Anthony Ford shared car, picks up the lead of the race. Heading up in towards Coppice, it is the Mini-shaped car of Gary Patterson and Anthony Ford that share that car. Will try and pick up on the starting driver for that one. But heading out of the Robert chicane in the lead of the race, it is, the Mini that leads the race. The Gary Patterson, Anthony Ford shared Mini leading the race at this stage. It is going to be Ian Staines, the Brands Hatch winner, that sits there in second position in a straight line, no quicker than the Mini, so beginning to close up. And out of Redgate corner they will go. And as you can see, Ian Staines in a straight line is quicker in that midget than the Mini that lies ahead, and the race-leading Mini on the first flying lap pops in a 1 minute 49.132, which is about 3 seconds quicker than anybody else managed on that lap. So already the lead advantage is up to 4.3 seconds. All of the time the race lead advantage is building up. Another new fastest lap from the Gary Patterson Anthony Ford shared Mini. 1 minute 49.046 now is the fastest lap of the race that we've had. So it's now 7.4 seconds to the good, the race leading Mini. And in now comes the race leader, so we don't know which driver started behind the wheel of the number 60 car. That can be cleared up by Dave Goddard because the car is in the pit lane. Gary Patterson or Anthony Ford, either way, it's been a good first stint for that number 60 Mini as it heads down the pit lane area, ready to conduct the mandatory pit stop. You'll be able to clear up the starting driver, I'm guessing, on that number 60 car for me.
Yes, so we will in a moment. So just helping his partner strap in at the moment. Lovely paint job on the Morris Mini.
So heading back down the pit lane goes the number 60 Mini. Hasn't been able to hang on to the lead of the race. I would have thought so. I would have thought the time advantage had already been built up in part one of the race. It didn't look a shoddy pit stop, so hopefully they'll keep the lead of the race.
And I've got the starting driver with me. It was Gary Patterson. Gary, excellent first stint for you there.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was good. Yeah, that car is handling absolutely fantastically, and so it goes where you want it to go, and is very controllable. So it was, it's a dream of a first stint.
We've seen you with the Mighty Minis Championship, I believe, in the past. Is this your first time with CSCC?
Actually, yes, it is. And if you can believe it, that is the old Super Mighty Mini car with exactly the same engine in it. It's just been sat dormant in a barn for about 6 years. So this project to get it back together again. My father Rex and I built it originally. We've got it together, and it's engine didn't even come out of the car. It's absolutely singing.
Well, the car looks $1 million, I have to say, and a good pit stop there as well. You must fancy your chances now. Yeah,
well, I think we could do quite well. We've got Ant Ford in the car now. He's an excellent driver, and so I hope he holds our position.
Great stuff. That's Gary Patterson, debut with the CSCC today. He and Anthony Ford looking for a debut win.
Amazing, isn't it, that the car's been sat dormant in the garage for 6 years. They literally haven't done anything to the engine. Out it comes and off it goes. So Ant Ford then hopefully has done enough to hang on to the lead of the race, and indeed, yes, he has. He is leading the race at this stage. We'll give you a full rundown of the order in a few moments. Into the pit lane there, you just briefly saw the number 45 car, but our race leader is again working his way through the traffic up the inside of the Alfa Romeo of John Storer. Goes our race leader. And Ant Ford is splashing his way for the penultimate time down through the Craner curves with a handsome advantage that was initially built up by Gary Patterson in the early stages of the race. Ant Ford, as we heard from Gary, is a quick driver as well. This car that's been sat in a barn for the best part of 6 years, and the project was to get it back on track, but they've done nothing to the engine since, other than, I'm sure, a change of oil, and other than that, they've not done a great deal else, I would have thought, to the engine. It leads by 44 seconds. So down through the Craner curves. Still traffic that he's had to deal with. He's just gone past Charles Tippett's BMW yet again. But safely through the yellow flag zone. Such has been the pace and the performance of both Gary Patterson and Ant Ford, who've both driven this car. It all looks as though it has absolutely gone to plan for them as he heads in towards the braking area for the Roberts chicane. It is going to be a win on their debut in the CSCC. Adams and Page swing 60s Group 1 for Ant Ford and Gary Patterson. The number 60 Mini comes through to claim the win. They will be delighted with that. 21 laps completed in the end. Final lap. Here comes Ollie Street now over the start-finish line. He will finish in second place. Through goes Ollie Street, making it a Mini 1-2, but he's 42.5 seconds, give or take the odd thousandth adrift of the race winner.
Yes, thanks, Mark. The winning car just making its way in now. It's beautifully liveried black Mini.